And here we go for Bitcoin, of course, starting off with the most important thing to be aware of that we've been following up on. The two biggest things, actually, for continuation of this current downside move. The first one being the global open interest. Remember, we've been looking for this to come down at minimum to about 11 billion before looking for any sort of major reversals, realistically, alongside price action as well, which we'll get into soon enough, which, of course, does matter more. But this is a good indication that caution is certainly warranted, and we can still see this come down, significantly more, obviously. So in the last closure, we did see about 11.75 billion right there. Of course, if we go into the hourly feed right here, you can see that this is a lot more updated. And by the way, you can get all of this data for free in the link in the description below. We offer up, I believe, the most free data across all lands, and we are coming down pretty much to the low 11 billions now, 11.22 billion to be exact. And I do think that this can come down further, obviously. And I want to briefly go over why the signal is important, and then we'll get on with the old analysis right here. But basically, anytime that the open interest has been getting above 13 billion, that is 13 billion with a B, we have seen at minimum 20% corrections and at maximum, 50% corrections. I'll pull you back to this one from last year, of which there are several more, by the way, as well. But this one from March, we did see before Bitcoin went from about 60,000 to 50,000, very quick, might I add. And then, of course, marches it back up just a month later in April, and that did precipitate, of course, the massive dump from $65,000 all the way to $30,000 base for quite some time. Hey, what's up, Jeff Grau? Good to see. Oh, 69, my fucking man. Anyways, moving on, we did see, of course, a similar aggressive read back on over in September before the $53,000 to $40,000 jump in just about a day before setting in the next weekly higher low around that region as well. And then same thing over here at our current all-time high at $69,000 before coming down to $40,000 for that first test. And then what do you know? On that last failed rally attempt in December to $52,000, our prior range highs, which are now going to get marched down yet again. So there's kind of the, I guess, ice or the silver, or I don't know where I'm going to go with that. But basically what I'm trying to say is that is your consolation prize. Yes, if you are looking to get bullish a little bit more sooner, I suppose. But more importantly, again, that's just going to march down the confirmation levels for that. And what do you know? We are seeing this now crater and, wash out a few more over leveraged positions. At this point, though, I guess there are more longs on the board, which is fucking insane. This market is just over leveraged to the fucking gills. But I guess it also does kind of make sense, right? Because there was a statement yesterday by the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, who basically came out and said, look, this year we're going to be focused on crypto exchanges. And I've been saying this for a while, especially coming into 2020, where BitMEX came under scrutiny, and then I think Binance was a big one as well, obviously into 2021, and then now we're probably going to see the wild west of cryptocurrency exchanges. And I do think in this next year to 2 years, so that means no more 100x leverage, no more bullshit like that, and you don't fucking need it to begin with, man. Look, you need 500x leverage in 4x land because it moves at one decimal place at a fucking time. Bitcoin moves thousands of dollars in a day. You don't need it, or at least I don't think that you need it. Of course, I do understand that some people just treat it as gambling. Hey, fair enough, man. Vegas is also available to you as well, and I guess that this is more convenient, but ultimately, understand what you're getting yourself into. These are completely unnecessary. On top of that, we will certainly see funny rates. Oh, now we're actually not going to see funny rates negative. I thought that we were, but it is actually positive on the daily. Let's go down to an hourly feed, and it's actually still positive right here as well, which is humongously concerning, to be quite honest with you. So people are longing into this dump, essentially praying, hoping to Bula Jesus that this is going to be the last of the pain. But whenever you see something like this, probably going to be a little bit more. We do want to see extremes on the red side here, representing that shorts are now getting super aggressive, which we did see earlier, of course, from the 4th of December wick low right there at $40,000, getting all the way to negative 0.05%, which is significant, similar to what we saw back on over on the May dump from 65,000 all the way to 30,000 bucks. But this is not a signature any longer that is going to have a short-term bullish interpretation. Just not fucking good. Anyways, leverage ratio over here as well continues to go to the moon. If this is the one chart I wish could long, can't fucking long it, and that just kind of tells you where we're at within the context of this market. So I want to follow up on yesterday's major topic of the day. The major topic of the day was this signal over here. We were saying, hey, look, Bitcoin bulas do have a chance, as they always do, but until Bitcoin actually takes out the last prior rejective high, which was $44,000, just about $44,000 or so, It's, it's all hopium. It's only short-term, medium-term time frame moves, even more or less short-term time frame moves, and it means nothing for the general trend, for the general, for a general reversal. And we also highlighted yesterday to reference, of course, that tweet that I put out 2 days ago, that if Bitcoin does close below 41,500 was the natural number, if we just go back very briefly over here, then that would force daily stochastic momentum to the downside in a low volatility environment, of course, with DMI already showing, negative right there. So, ultimately, I want to follow up on this because this is obviously important going onwards and forwards. You can see how all of these things kind of work with each other. And while it does take a bit of patience, that was a humongous opportunity coming into today, of which we do see like another, I don't know, is like 5 to 10% move or so. And I don't think that is done either. Now, when you see something like this, where it's getting rejected right at the edge of the bearish control zone, that is a bearish reset for what it's worth, especially on low volatility. And again, the DMI already there as well. And I should probably let you know, you can find this indicator in the Crown Trading application as well. In the good old store right there, as the creator has decided he wants to sell it. So fair enough. I'm happy to sell things that I actually use. And this one, as you can see, I quite like it today on days like today. So let's go into the charts over here. Let's go over to the chart that we were working on yesterday. And again, what was the big bad area to be aware of? There was a little bit of hopium right here for a bit of a higher low in the very, very short-term time frames, which we did get. And there actually was the move that played out from that, to be fair. So to give the Boolaws their due diligence, they did get that move right there, which was beautiful. I mean, that was about $1,000, a little bit more than $1,000 move from breakout to next high, just right in line with your last prior rejected highs, by the way, and well below, of course, your range highs, which we're gonna have to march down yet again, in fact, now. But hey, fair enough. That's your consolation prize if you want to be bullish, I suppose. That's going to be marched down to yesterday's rejective high right here. But for right now, what was our major area yesterday for confirming not just momentum turning down, but also, essentially just, I guess in this case, a bull trap, was coming back down below 41,600. So these markets move fucking fast. They are unforgiving, of course. And ultimately, I want to be highlighting these things, not because I'm a fan of hindsight analysis. No, I want to be following up for the people who are joining in here, who have not been here for the past few days, because you can use this information in the future to, at the very least, protect yourself. And, if you are a trader, then, you can potentially even use it to, what's it called? To give yourself a few gains. Ain't too bad right there. Anyways, I do want to call this out because we did identify that CME also had hidden bearish divergence right here, of which we can pull it out. And actually, there's another drive that's going to populate with today's closure, which is not great. And on top of that, we do see, I believe, yes, the daily Joule signal as well, getting downside officially confirmed as of the 19th. So that was 2 days ago. I actually missed calling this one out yesterday. I should have done that yesterday. I completely fucking whiffed on this one. We were speaking about it as potential the day before. I missed this one. This one's my bad because, this would have made it a lot more of an easy call for for an overall breakdown. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the trend is your friend, and the trend ain't reversing anytime soon. Now we can march these levels down for a potential reversal, for the very first hint of a major reversal. Not any longer to, let me go back to this chart right here, not any longer at the $52,000 level that we had before, this guy right here. Prior range highs, we can now move it down towards about $44,000 right there. Basically, where we got that last little wick rejection from yesterday's top. And so, if Bitcoin does start to close daily diligence above there, that's going to be the first sort of potential inklings that we are going to be seeing a bit of a reversal. Until then, it is all hopium. It is all more or less downside, more likely. And now we should talk about where are the likely targets for something like this. Where are things likely to, at the very least, give Bitcoin a nice big old boolah bounce right there, and perhaps even, or very likely, a tradable bounce, to be quite honest with you. And where would that be? Well, we kind of already hit one of them, that being the $38,000 level, which was a target with the upon confirmation of that daily stochastic signal, plus a breakdown in levels as well, which were one and the same, basically. Kind of beautiful when both those things match up with each other. As I adjust my glasses by the way, for the people asking, they're not like corrective glasses, they're just blue light glasses. I actually got laser surgery earlier this year, and it was quite nice, although my left eye not perfect yet, so maybe I need to go back and do that. But man, if you look at the fucking videos of what they do and how they cut up in your eyes, I don't know if I could do it again, man, because you're awake during that whole damn time, and you see it, you see the damn knife coming towards your eyes. I didn't know that was gonna happen. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Get that knife away from my eye, sir, and can take this fucking laser dildo off my face as well. That would be great. Anyways, it was worth it though, but my lord, man, scary as all hell. And I guess I'll have to do it again. All right. Anyways, so yes, we're going to talk about now targets to the downside, where to kind of expect at least a bit of a bounce behavior, and potentially even the next major low. Which again, going back to the prior conversation, we've been speaking about a potential major low basically since the $40,000 level was tested in early December. Understand that. Please understand that we cannot confirm a reversal until we get at minimum that daily closure above the last prior rejective high, and that's a fucking minimum condition right there. And what I'm going to balance this out with is this is now a long-term bearish setup, actually, to be quite frank. So we'll talk about that soon enough. Anyways, so in this case right here, where are we coming down to? Or let me just get rid of this. We can just do a nice little blue box of peace and prosperity. Nice little liquidity zone coming in from, I guess I already have it in there. I guess, nice. We already have it in there right now. Anyways, I guess the hopium, and this is really like, this is just pure fucking hopium. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think that this is very likely. But the hopium is that you got a falling pizza in play right here, which is a bullish reversal formation. Now, to be fair, it is actually in there. And you do have the right volume signature on this. You do see it tailing off from left to right, which is what you want to see, as it does suggest that you're shaking out the sellers essentially. But again, how would you confirm this as an actual reversal in the context of this price action? It doesn't even matter about the formation. Again, 44,000, or it's more like 44,200 right here on a daily closure, nothing less. And then yes, there is a bit of a technical target to be made off of this. It's going to be something like this. I'm not going to do it exact, but it'd be something like this from that price point, which would be pointed up towards about $54,000 to $55,000. Problem with that is, at least on this one right here, is that we already do have a weekly lower low, which is a problem because, well, the weekly trend for Bitcoin has been essentially your friend for the macro direction since the eternity of time, essentially. That has essentially judged all of your macro bull and bear markets whenever you got a weekly reversal. Now, you'll notice here that whilst we do have a lower low, we do not have a lower high just yet. So at some point, we will be expecting a Bitcoin weekly bounce, and that weekly bounce, well, if it comes anywhere between the 0.5 and the 618 right here, very similar to over the summer, that would be your next very likely lower high area if you are going to be super, super bearish. So yes, I do think, to kind of wrap up my thoughts here, I do think that Bitcoin is going to set up for a bounce, sometime within the next month or so, maybe 2 months, maybe around end of Q1 of 2022. And then at this point right here, I'd just be looking for, I would be on the lookout for any sort of weakness. And if you see anything like this, anything at all, whoops, not like that, but like this, where it pops up, it does a little bit of that, shows some weakness, and then comes back down, especially below about $45,000. Well, that's going to be your next lower high. And of course, you already have your lower low right now. So lower low, lower high, you have a full on confirmed downtrend, and we can start to talk about bigger and much better targets, much lower. But for right now, I also want to talk about the next sort of area that I'd be looking at, especially in like a full on just flush that we might even see this week. And let me go over here to this chart. We've been hey, damn it, stop that. Anyways, I'm going to get rid of this, and we'll just talk about this right here. Let me put on log scale as well. And this is something that I brought up at the end of Q3 of 2021 as a big thing, something that actually has a 100% hit rate, in the sense that anytime that we've seen a quarterly reversal, that is a 3-month reversal, we have always, or Bitcoin has always back tested that quarterly open for the reversal dildo. And in this case, where would that quarterly open be? That would be right here, coming in from your closure in September, which was an opening price of just above $35,000. So I do think that it's very relevant to be looking at, price action somewhere around there. Doesn't need to be exact, but anywhere around there does look good to me. And of course, that would be coinciding very, very likely with CME gap coming in from, of course, the July bear trap right here between about 34 and 35,000 bucks. And keep in mind that CME does have a natural discount over spot price action right now to reflect, people are, more bearish for the long term right now. Of course, there is one other thing as well, which I will get into, which is more on the hopium side, but understand, just because it is on the hopium side does not mean that we can't get a wick down around those regions. It has to do exactly with closure. But let me find it over here. It's on my fundamental chart, and this is going to be what I'm going to leave you with on this, and then we'll get into the comment section. But basically, if we go over here to the to my fundamental chart, I'll just briefly run through this. I know the people who've been here for a long time, they already know this, but basically, holy shit, man, we have 1,000 likes on this video. That's amazing, man. Wow. Thank you. That's incredible. Anyways, wow, my God. we do see that this hash rate indicator right here, a kind of more fundamental indicator representing the miners in this space, has been very consistent with this blue buy signal on this indicator, which basically does imply, or at least the statistical interpretation that I've kind of studied on this one, is that anytime that we've seen a blue buy signal on this indicator, the daily low prior to that blue buy signal was the major low before never closing below there ever again. All 18 of those iterations have worked out except for one. The one being March 2020, actually precipitating the flu dump. But I'll just briefly go over this for you right now, just a few iterations. Then we'll talk about the relevancy for price action currently and where that would kind of suggest on a major low. And first and foremost, we have the second to last one right here, which is coming in from December 2nd. Where's the daily low prior to that? That would be right here at about $17,000. Yes, Bitcoin does come back down and test it around it. You can even get wicks below it. We've seen that several times in the past, but no closures below it before ever, just kind of zooms off up into the right after that, obviously. Of course, we have another example right here from July 12th of 2020. Where's your daily low prior to that blue buy signature? That would be right here in June 27th. And of course, Bitcoin tested, a few more times with the wick. That's completely fine. No closures below it and up into the right after that. Same thing over here coming after the flu dump from April 24th in the year 2020. Again, where's your daily low prior to this one? That would be right around here essentially, or actually right here at about 68.55. And of course, Bitcoin's never closed below there ever again. Again, you can get wicks below, but where's the one iteration where this did not work out? It's right fucking here, baby. It's right fucking here, December 27th of the year 2019. Your daily low prior to that is right here. Obviously, the flu dump took it well below on a closing basis, and you might say that that's a bit of an outlier in the context of 18 separate signals that have worked out in that fashion, which was, in combination with what's it called? A black swan event, right? And could we get another black swan event over here? Yeah, absolutely. But for right now, where was the last blue buy signal on the hash rate indicator? Well, it was right here, actually, something that we were very loud about on this channel in August 7th, calling for, much higher price action after that. Where's your daily low prior to that? That would be about 37,500 or so, or let's just say 37,000 bucks, easier to say right there. And as you can see, that would imply that Bitcoin would not close below that region. That does not mean that Bitcoin can't get some wicks down below there. In fact, I think the most confidence-inducing thing for myself right now, if I wanted to take a long-term long position, which I look, like, you make your decisions for yourself. Obviously, you are a rational human adult, hopefully, and you are capable of doing such. But basically, I'd love to actually see something like this, where Bitcoin gets a quick wick down to like 35. Okay, that's a little bit too low. Maybe just 35,000, something like this, and then bounces the day to end it back above 37,000 or so. If I see something like that, no closures below, just a wick below, that would be amazing, and I would feel a lot more confident with potentially holding some long-term longs. Until then, I'm just a short-term trader as usual. I'm just a short-term trader looking for short-term trades. I'm a short-term trade. And there you have it, the Island Boys song of the day. Anyways, that fucking rhymes too, so it's even better. So let's go back on over here and let's wrap this bitch up. What would make me basically look for much lower? Well, a closure below that region. There you go. No more short-term. I'm a short-term short. And it's wrecked and it's off. No, I'd basically be looking for a $30,000 low and a big bounce right there. Do I think that things could go lower over time? Yeah, of course. I mean, that's always possible, right? But when you're talking about probabilities and thinking in terms of like steps within the market and just timing these sorts of things, we're very, very likely to get a major bounce before then, as this has been pretty damn wrecked the whole way down. I mean, has been pretty unforgiving. Just one decent sized bounce, I'd say, right here off of the $40,000 level all the way up to $52,000. Well, that was obviously a failure, and we get marched on further and further south. Now, I feel like I'm missing something over here. Yep, we already spoke about the hidden bearish divergence. Maybe we go down to the lower term timeframes and then send this one off. But let's go over here to this chart right now. And what do we see? We are very likely to see, short-term bounces along the way. And, what would actually, if this happened today, which this is pure fucking hopium right now, what would, if this happened today, make me immediately say, hey, dump over and it's time to pump my boolah Jesus, at least for the short term. Well, going back to this indicator over here, same thing as before. If Bitcoin were to pop back up, close the daily above 40,800 by end of day, 7 p.m. Eastern time, or 0.00 UTC, that would probably do it for me. I don't think that's what's happening right here, but that would look okay. Anyways, lower term time frame momentum oscillators, are we more likely to see some more drives down before a little bit of a pity bounce? 4-hour stochastic momentum says go fuck yourself, getting rejected from the from not the bearish but the bullish control zone in this case, and is nose diving below 41,600. That's not great. Bi-hourly is showing what? Is showing downside as long as below 39,500. That's really fucking good. Hourly is doing what right here? Is flippy floppy, so maybe a little bit of a short-term bounce. Maybe even the 15 minute honestly during these trending moves is money, honestly. And this one's actually just having a bit of a bearish reset right now as well. Again, volatility is incredibly high right now, so we will be very, 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 very likely seeing some of those quick wicks up, but I would still exercise caution, basically. Kind of very similar messages before, in the sense that if you just want to bullet down to one thing, look, the open interest. Until that one comes down, man, I just historically speaking, this has not been the best time for what it's worth. Anyways, okay, I think I'm gonna end things right there for Bitcoin. Sweet. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go.